4:40 a.m., federal agents armed with battering rams and assault teams stormed a prestigious university that turned out to be a front for drug trafficking and illegal weapons. During the raid, officers seized lethal substances, suitcases of cash, and took members of the university's leadership into custody. The city woke up to the sound of the assault, and this was only the beginning. Behind the facade of academic activity, right in the heart of Austin, one of the region's most dangerous cartel-linked narcotics hubs had been operating on the grounds of a respected Texas university. The campus, positioned near a key transport corridor between Houston and San Antonio, proved to be an ideal logistics hub. The flow of students disguised courier movements, and shipments moved through the buildings as easily as regular educational materials. For the past 18 months, the university had reported mysterious student poisonings. Now, investigators have confirmed that these were test batches of cartel chemicals moving through an internal distribution network disguised as wellness supplements and research compounds. The operation spanned at least 3 academic buildings and a laboratory center, and seized documents reveal connections to suppliers in 2 other states. Federal investigators have already called this the most extensive operation in Texas in the past decade. Not merely university corruption, but a multi-state trafficking network with multi-million-dollar flows and a highly professional conspiracy structure. For a long time, no one could have imagined that the university's own administrative center was the core of a criminal network. According to federal agents, the head of the institution, Dr. E.M. Whitford, used her authority and access to campus infrastructure to build an internal delivery system for illegal substances. On paper, it looked like a pilot medical research program, offering students safe clinical trials and health-oriented initiatives. In reality, it was a recruitment mechanism. At least 30 students, believing they were assisting a scientific project, were in fact acting as couriers. They received sealed packages that, according to program supervisors, supposedly contained laboratory samples or medical documentation. These couriers moved the parcels between campus buildings and at times transported them to so-called partner clinical centers that were later revealed to be completely fake. Through such intermediaries, a steady flow of narcotics and cash circulated under the guise of ordinary academic paperwork. The launch of the federal operation was triggered by an anonymous report. The source, still kept confidential, described strange clinical procedures in which students were asked to sign documents without explanation, as well as unusually frequent late-night visits to the administrative building. This tip aligned with data from border officers who had flagged a series of suspicious imported shipments labeled biomaterials for research. Following this, a joint investigative task force was formed, FBI, DEA, and HSI. Over several months, they conducted discreet monitoring, installed cameras and wiretaps, tracked financial movements, and followed the circulation of questionable packages. A separate unit handled cryptocurrency transactions, since funds were flowing through a chain of crypto wallets tied to disposable phone numbers and VPN routes. The operation was so meticulously designed that the money trail was obscured through multi-layered conversions, from Bitcoin and Monero to cash withdrawals through shell companies registered in Nevada and New Mexico. A turning point came during a covert purchase. An undercover agent, posing as a new employee at the laboratory center, received one of these analysis batches and immediately forwarded it to forensic experts. Instead of biological samples, they found high-grade pharmaceutical narcotics. Combined with the existing evidence, forged import certificates, transactions on closed crypto platforms, and encrypted correspondence, this confirmed the existence of a large-scale criminal enterprise. Surveillance of Dr. Whitford lasted nearly 10 months. During that time, agents documented meetings with unidentified intermediaries, nighttime loading of lab materials into a van behind the university building, and visits to warehouses registered under shell companies. Investigators determined that the university president coordinated supplies with 2 external groups, one responsible for smuggling drug components across the southern border, and another handling financial logistics and money laundering. The trigger for the operation's tactical phase was an incident on campus. One of the student couriers suffered an overdose after coming into contact with powder leaking through a package. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Medical staff detected traces of a substance typically linked to international cartels. The information was immediately relayed to federal agencies, after which the operational command approved the raid. Today, investigators describe the case as one of the most complex they have ever handled. An academic institution transformed into a hub of a multi-layered criminal structure, combining smuggling, financial manipulation, money laundering, document forgery, and the exploitation of unsuspecting students in the trafficking cycle. All of it concealed under the cover of science, charity initiatives, and the prestigious reputation of a university. The investigation revealed that Dr. E.M. Whitford was not simply the leader of the scheme, she was its architect. But the scale of the operation would have been impossible without the involvement of at least 5 senior university officials who had worked alongside her for years. These included logistics department heads responsible for importing equipment, administrators of research programs, and even the deputy director of financial operations. All of them had access to internal delivery channels, authorization systems, warehouse logs, and the electronic platform used to track cargo movement across campus. Their role was to falsify logistics data. Every shipment of drug components and weapons was disguised as laboratory reagents, optical devices, technical prototypes, or donor materials. One administrator created forged certificates of origin. Another entered clean data into the internal transportation system. These falsifications allowed dangerous cargo to move through research buildings as freely as standard academic supplies. The university did not merely serve as a transit point. It became a multifunctional hub of criminal operations. The network was divided into separate modules, each supporting another. 1. Narcotics chemical precursors, extracts, and fully processed narcotics were delivered by outside couriers tied to a transnational network. Whitford coordinated the flow through university warehouses. Inside the campus, 2 black labs operated under the facade of research centers. There, components were mixed and packaged for distribution. Some products were manufactured on site. Others were temporarily stored before being moved to regional distribution cells. 2. Weapons. Alongside the drugs, shipments of illegal weapons arrived, including modified handguns and components of assault rifles. Weapons were transported in separate batches to avoid suspicion. The research buildings contained lathes and 3D printers, allowing clean firearm units to be produced without serial numbers. 3. Harboring illegal migrants. In the basement areas of dormitories and maintenance rooms, traffickers temporarily housed individuals before moving them to other cities. Many were trafficking victims or workers coerced into repaying debts. Administrators manipulated the building access system to conceal their presence. 4. Human trafficking. A complete exploitation pipeline ran through the university. Some people were forced into labor in the warehouse system. Others were sent to service underground clubs off campus. Handwritten payment logs indicate that organizers earned $8,000 to $12,000 per person per month for holding them. 5. Financing and crypto logistics. All payments moved through several financial layers. Crypto wallets tied to VPN-based addresses, then shell companies registered under fake identities. Some of the money returned as university grants, creating the illusion of legitimate funding. Few suspected that transactions labeled as laboratory platform support were actually cartel drug profits. 6. Storage chains. The university operated an extensive warehouse system, which became the perfect cover. Forged inventory slips allowed large shipments to enter with no verification. Some goods were kept on campus. Others were immediately repacked into clean, university-branded boxes that moved easily through courier services. 7. Technological smuggling. During the raids, agents discovered microchips, server components, and equipment subject to export control. Documents showed that part of this hardware was intended for overseas transfer, meaning the university's criminal network cooperated not only with cartels, but also with groups seeking to export high-tech materials illegally. Operational model. The system functioned as a precise chain. Foreign suppliers shipped precursors and equipment. University administrators ensured unobstructed movement across campus. Black labs mixed, processed, and packaged narcotics. Student couriers, unaware of their real role, delivered packages between buildings or carried them off campus. Financial operators converted profits into cryptocurrency and distributed funds to external crime groups. The danger of the scheme was enormous. The combination of high-potency narcotics, illegal firearms, technological contraband, and human trafficking created a complex criminal node capable of operating for years without detection. The volume of seized substances showed that a single shipment could have devastated entire communities, and the network's ties to international cartels provided stable funding and protection. A university, a place meant for safety, research, and learning, was transformed into a multi-layered engine of criminal enterprise, operating with the precision and cold efficiency of a true illicit corporation. The final phase of the operation became a full-scale sweep. Federal forces carried out searches at more than 10 locations across Texas, from university laboratories to private warehouses and rented offices registered under shell companies. Authorities seized large quantities of narcotics, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, encrypted servers, internal correspondence, and accounting records confirming financial links not only with Mexican groups, but also with Venezuelan organizations involved in cross-border precursor shipments. Agents emphasized that the scheme was exceptionally dangerous because of its multi-layered structure. It combined drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, financial fraud, human trafficking, and technological contraband all at once. This wasn't a network, it was a criminal ecosystem, said one HSI investigator. This complexity allowed the operation to function for years. Each component reinforced the others, and the university environment provided a cover few would ever suspect. The takedown was made possible through the synchronized efforts of FBI, DEA, and HSI teams. Long-term financial analysis, wiretaps, digital intelligence work, and a series of controlled buys. "We cut the spine of a network that believed it was untouchable," a DEA representative stated. Comparing the case to previous operations, agents noted that this one stands out for its scale and depth of penetration into legitimate institutions. While earlier investigations focused mainly on cartels and external suppliers, this time law enforcement encountered a complex hybrid model where criminal business embedded itself under the facade of an academic institution. Schemes like this are more dangerous than traditional cartels because they feed off public trust, FBI and HSI said in a joint report. In the end, agents concluded that dismantling this cell was only the first step. Documents and servers seized during the raids indicate that the network may have branches in other states, and that its true coordinators were likely operating far beyond Texas.